So good evening, everybody. This is the regular scheduled board meeting, December 10, 2025. For those that may be joining us via Zoom or those that don't know, this is a reorganization meeting. So generally, what that means is we will elect either new officers or reappoint officers that are in existing positions. So with that, I'm going to do the pledge first, and Madam Chair or Trustee Mantavigi, if you would lead us, please.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So I have been asked before we actually accept any nominations for the board chair that Trustee Mantavigi would like to make some comments. So at this time, Trustee, it's yours.
Thank you, Brad. I just wanted to take a few minutes to thank everybody who's been so supportive and cooperative and gone along with some of my crazy plans and ideas while I was chair the last 2 years. It is not easy. It takes a lot more time than just being a trustee does, but it is certainly rewarding. And so I appreciate everybody who's been so cooperative. I think we've improved our communication between departments and between us and the leadership team and the community as well. I think we continue to build trust with each other. I think we've done some pretty amazing things. The lunch program being one of the most visible, we continue to support students at every level and address all the needs they bring to school with them. So I just wanted to say thank you. I am not seeking the office of chair. I am going to babysit a day or two a week, my new granddaughter, and that's going to be my little vacation. So I appreciate you all. Thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, I would accept nominations for the board chair for the period of December 25 or the year of 25 to November of 2026.
Mr. Chair, I'd like to nominate Jason Jenkins.
Okay, I have a nomination of Jason. Are there any others?
Mr.
Trustee?
Superintendent, I would like to nominate Billy Fitzwater.
Okay.
And I did forget to say, Joe expressed his regrets. He could not be here today, and Tyler is not feeling well. And Billy's at a training for work.
Yes, I was just thinking to myself, I hope there's no students out there in Zoom land wondering about attendance. How about any other nominations? Okay, so having two, I would ask for the vote, and then let's see, we do have a quorum, so all of those in favor of Jason? On the beach. Be better than a romantic night in Zoom. So I'm assuming she was at the transportation. Okay. Hold on just a second. Not sure how Robert's. Five is a quorum. Hold on a second. I can maybe resend. Watch this technology at work.
Watch this.
There's a reason people are going to Mars and not the other planets. Watch this. I can't even get my phone to work. I can't do it either. Well, five's a quorum. I guess, what are the wishes of the current trustees? You want to wait, or shall we move? You have a quorum. You have a quorum of the present.
Oh, she's there.
Okay,
She's answering the phone.
she's doing both. Okay, so I have two nominations. The first nomination, I would ask for a show of hands for the person that's taking minutes, which is CeeLo. Those in favor of Jason, please raise your hand. Susan, where are you at?
I just got on.
Okay, so I have two
Wrong waiting room.
nominations. I have two nominations for board chair, both Jason Jenkins and Billy Fitzwater. And the first vote is for Jason. And I'm asking for a show of hands so the minutes are accurately reflected. So, two in favor of Jason,
I'll go Jason.
okay? Three in favor of Jason. Those in favor of Billy. Okay, so we have a 3-3 tie. Rock, paper, scissors does not work in this scenario. Billy's not here. Generally, I think what you do is you ask both nominations to sway the vote one way or the other, but since one's not in attendance, that's probably not equally as fair. What a great time not to know Robert's rules. So I guess what I will do is there anybody in the current voting group willing to change their vote for Jason at this time? Or is there anybody in the voting group that would switch their vote to Billy at this time? Madam Chair, I do believe we are stuck. I don't have a clue to what you do now. Hold on. It's a stalemate. Hold on. Hold on. I have a life call.
A lifeline.
Lifeline. So Abby, from a legal standpoint, so I have two nominations. I have a 3-3 vote. Where do we go from here?
And I'm sorry, I couldn't see hands this far away. Madam Chair, did you vote?
Yes.
Okay. I wanted you to not vote because you were going to be the tiebreaker.
Oh.
Well, then if she can't vote, then there's not a tie. If that's
Oh,
how,
yeah, we've always let the chair vote.
Yeah. Yep. So pure Robert's Rules of Order, chairman typically doesn't vote unless there's a tie, then chair votes. You guys historically allow your chair to vote, which most boards do. That's not uncommon at all. And you don't have two board members in attendance right now?
Three.
Three. What I would recommend right now then is postpone the vote until you have those three board members in attendance. I mean, if you guys are at a dead deadlock, which it seems you are, postpone changing of the guard, if you will, until 2 or 3 of them can be in attendance.
So then would it be safe to assume that the past chair would stay chair till the meeting to reorganize in January
Correct.
happens?
Correct.
Okay. So with that legal advice, Merry Christmas to all. And to Madam Chair, you're it.
Well, thank you.
Oh, I'm
For
sorry.
that
Just real
clarification.
quick.
Point of
Jason,
order. So then how does that work for the rest of them if somebody may wanted to run for another office then? They
we're
can't-
gonna table the
The
whole
whole
thing,
thing.
the
Gotcha.
whole thing, including the
I
rec
think
board,
we all
would be
stay.
my recommendation till January.
Okay.
And the nice thing is, what's really nice about this is the gift that just keeps giving, is in January, Mr. Hoffman will be the one that does the reorganization, because I will not be in attendance. So for all those young people, really, adult attendance isn't much better than yours. So again, I will just say, at this time, we will table everything, and Madam Ex-Chair, you are now the chair.
Okay. All right then.
Give an old speech.
Thank goodness I brought my glasses. Okay. Approval of the agenda. It's been moved and seconded to approve the agenda. Let's see. Oh, yep. Okay. Yes, the agenda from C on, since we're not doing B. Okay, we're good. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye, opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Recognitions. Bryce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to recognize the individuals and the student council for their efforts at WASC and the recognition they received there. Presley Fitzwater earned All-State Student Council, and Lily Morrill was awarded with the Hidden Hero Award, which is, I guess, designated as kind of a behind the scenes council member that is very valuable to their counselor. And so they both received that statewide recognition. And then the council as a whole earned Honor Council with Meritorious Distinction. They also earned the Tiffany Songer Award for their efforts in the Make-A-Wish campaign last year. And then the Vitalent Blood Donations Organization recognized them for their efforts they put into the blood drive every year. And so the council in general picked up a lot of recognition there. And also Mrs. Unterseer was selected as the Jenny Tinnen Advisor of the Year. And this is awarded to the 1st through 5th year advisors eligible for that award. And so student council cleaned up at the WASC convention. So very proud of them and their leadership.
Well done.
And then football postseason awards, selected to the Wyoming Coaches Association 2A All-State team were Dane Crabtree and Teddy Troftgruben. So congratulations to those young men as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Randy.
Thank you. I would like to recognize Sarah Whipple for the great concerts earlier in the week, as well as Ryan Whipple, Bo Gregory, and Sally Hoover. They do a lot of work for us behind the scenes for our concerts, so I wanted to say thanks for that. Also big thank you to the 4th grade teachers and then to Leanna Scribner up at the high school. We had cookie day today, and the last couple of years, their culinary class, our 4th graders go up there and do cookies with them to sell at cookie day. And I think that's a really cool opportunity for them to get to work together. So Good job to them. And then I'd also like to recognize Betty Sample. I don't know if you guys are aware, but she still comes and reads to every one of our classrooms the Polar Express and brings a bell, and she'll be doing that next week. But that's been a long time tradition, and I'm glad that she can still do that for us. So.
Wonderful.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Just got one quick one. Teresa Gross. So when the pool's getting ready to come up to last week, we were waiting on parts for the robot that vacuums the bottom of it. She pulled some strings, got us one out of Gillette. They brought it back down to us. We took it up last week back to them, but appreciate her going out of her way finding us a robot.
Great. It's always good to have friends. Tyler.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Recognizing Aaron Haynes for stepping in and driving Suburbans along with our girls basketball coaches, so our 6th and C girls basketball teams could travel to Gillette. Recognizing our wrestling coaches for driving to Rapid City yesterday, driving Suburbans. It was a little dicey with weather these evenings lately, but they got back safely. So appreciate all those guys making sure kids can go compete. Recognize Mrs. Morris and the middle school student council for spreading the holiday cheer around the middle school. And then I would recognize Mrs. Bloom, Thomas Hadlock, Callan Smith, Weston McConkey, Dustin Porter, and our brand new student Aiden Cothran for unloading the totes truck today. I wasn't able to make it, and Aiden started school with us today, so he was set to be with Mrs. Bloom for Power Hour, and that's when we went. So he got thrown in with the rest,
Wow.
and he made himself right at home with us. So I appreciate all those guys helping out. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you. Brad.
So, Madam Chair, this is probably a little redundant, but Adam hit a little bit on it, but a big thank you to all of those that helped not only physically, but with money and everything else. We're halfway home on the pool project. If you have not been in there, it really does smell like a new car. It looks good. It smells good. And without that kind of help, well, we probably well, no, it's not cold enough to play hockey in there yet, but it would have been not swimming weather, and we probably would have been saying goodbye to some school programs, but probably more importantly, one of the most important life skills that you can have is the ability to save yourself in a water situation. And without that facility, maybe you can do swim lessons in the hotel. But chances are you would lose that ability to develop that skill as well. So we're halfway there. A big thank you to everybody, including, we even got the sound baffles up above, reorganized and everything. And it's a big project. I know several people spent days and nights trying to assure that we could stay ahead of schedule. So thank you to everybody, because it's a big undertaking.
Yeah, very proud of everyone involved. Definitely. Anyone else have recognitions? Jason.
Kind of touch off what Mr. Bartlett was saying. I don't know if Troy was going to address it, but for our sub drivers, just want to give a shout out to all our sub drivers. I think in our last committee meeting, we had 8 routes, but only 2 drivers. So we had a lot of people step up to make that happen. So not only to the coaches, but to those that have stepped up and helped with some of these routes. We appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for getting kids where they need to go. I have one here. The High School Activities Association would like to present Alan Olson a Good Sportsmanship Award for exemplary conduct and good sportsmanship during a volleyball contest held on November 6th, 2025. So congratulations, Alan. Anyone else have recognitions? Okay, we'll move on to visitors' comments. Paul is here to take us through the financial audit report for the year ending June 30th, 2025.
Thank you. Thanks for your time. 15, 20 minutes, is that fine? I don't know
Yep.
if you have a lot of other stuff on the agenda tonight. It's been I was telling Angie, it's been a little bit because I think 2 years ago you had the bomb threat when I was supposed to be here. And then last year, I don't know if it was weather, you didn't have a quorum or something like that, so the December meeting got canceled. I think I recognize everybody that's here on if they've heard me talk before on this. I'll kind of cover the same format. I'll just go through stuff, what's included in my report, and just hit some highlights if everybody's got if that's fine with everybody. I think everybody does everybody have a printed copy? Or you have electronic copy? That's fine. And so I'll try would you like a printed copy? I've got some here. Okay, all right. On this. So since I haven't been here for a couple of years, and I don't know how much you've talked about it, it's made it kind of difficult to budget a lot of times. But the legislature back in 21 changed the property tax procedures for extraction industries or energy industry companies, where they are making the energy companies or the extraction pay monthly as it comes out of the ground, which is different than how you and I pay our property taxes. So they're paying in advance. And it really kind of caused the budgeting procedures and your foundation formulas to kind of be a little bit difficult there for a few years. I think it's kind of settled down now. But I wanted to explain in the financial statements, when they pay that money in advance ahead of the mill levy, you take that money and budget and spend it and you report it to the state just like normally would. But when that comes to the audit report or the financial statements, that money has not been levied yet. And so we cannot take it into revenue in the financial statements until it's levied. So we're going to have that timing difference here in the financial statements. It doesn't really affect the 25 mil and the 6 mil. That's the regular tax that the school district's taking in. But like on the rec mill, if you would decide to reduce the rec mill, because I mean can fluctuate based upon the board's desire on that. But if you would reduce the rec mill from 1 mil to a half mil, you'd owe half of that money all back to the energy producers. Okay, because it's been collected at 1 mil, but you're then saying we only wanted a half mil of that. So you would have to refund that through the county treasurer. I don't think that's ever going to be the case. We've had it some places where we had a hospital district that was did the district's 3 mil and the voter approved 3 mil, so they were doing 6 mils. Well, the voters came back and rejected the voter approved 3 mils, so they owed half of that money back that was collected in relation to the extraction industries on that. So I just kind of wanted to go through that. The other thing two other things I wanted to go through. As part of our audit, we do a federal audit for federal procedures. This year, the federal government was very late in getting us our audit procedures on this. So I think they were finally released until the Wednesday before Thanksgiving, which kind of put us in a time crunch to get these, because I didn't know exactly what I was supposed to audit on the federal money until they released those. And so that occurred, I think. So what was it? I think it was November 26th was the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. This is due to the state on December 15th. My software hasn't even been updated yet for everything. I've kind of got an idea what's going to happen. So the state Department of Education, Leslie Zimmerscheid at the state, let us have a 45-day extension from the date the federal government released the audit procedures. So that's going to put it into January at some point that they want the final copies. The state, she did ask though that the state, which we're already there, we have these draft copies here. and I just need to go back through and make sure I'm capturing all the audit tests I need to do for the federal government because it was just released and my software hasn't been updated. But the state would like us to send the draft copies in so they can start doing their calculations for the legislature. Does that all make sense? Yeah, Brett, yeah.
Why did you provide documentation to them that may not be factual?
Well, it's not going to change the numbers. It's going to change your compliance issues. So it's going to change your compliance with the grants. It's not going to change. They're looking at the general fund on that. Okay. And so what the federal government gave me has nothing to do with the numbers. They're wanting me to go to like the school lunch and make sure that people have applications for free and reduced. So that's what that's concerns with that. Okay.
I'll stay in the Christmas spirit and just shut.
No, you're fine. It's a very good question. It's a very good question. It's been very frustrating. But so, yeah, so they, it's been confusing and the state wants to get the numbers for what the carryovers are so they can go to the legislature and say, you know, do their calculations for the legislature. But so we have until like the first part of January, I need to go back through the federal components of this, make sure I've done all the tests that the federal government wants. And then, which I don't think are going to change, but I cannot issue a report until I've done everything the federal government wants me to do. But the state wants the numbers for the general fund to see what you have carried over to budget for the next year. Okay. Yeah, I know it's very confusing on that. So that's kind of what I want to cover on those two things. Like I said, that's a very good question. And then, so I'm going to go through. This is my required communication to governance. I think all of you have seen this in the past. I did highlight the thing. It goes through what we've audited, management's responsibilities, my responsibilities, significant things in the financial statements. If we had any problems or any issues during our audit, which we didn't have any, everybody was very cooperative. I want to thank all the staff in the business office, CeeLo, Angie, Grace, and Taylor. Everybody's very helpful. I really appreciate it. But it just goes through those things. I've went through that before. We did have one change though that I've highlighted there, and it's just a number. The AICPA, who makes my rules for how we report the information in the financial statement, had one change that affects the district, and that is this accrued sick leave and the accrued vacation payout used to be valued at payout value. The sick leave was paid out at $20 a day. They made a change effective 2025 that's going to be valued at used value. So that's going to move it to, I have this value that if I use my sick leave, that is valued at a certain amount per hour rather than $20 a day. It's going to move that to the actual pay rate. So by the time I convert the sick leave at $20 a day to actual pay rates, it's going from $20 a day to over $300 a day. So like increase that liability by like 15 times.
In addition to the weekly printed version of the newsletter journal, we also promote our community and share important information on our award-winning website, newslj.com, and in our weekly email newsletter, Nuke Now. We also connect with readers through various social media platforms and invite you to check us out on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can even take a look at a recent meeting of the City Council, School Board, or County Commission on our YouTube channel. We do hope that you will go to newslj.com and subscribe today, and we look forward to making all of our great content available to you. But regardless of your level of support, we thank you from the bottom of our hearts for doing your part to preserve a free and independent local press.
So like increase that liability by like 15 times. It's not a number that affects the operations of the district. It's just a number that goes into the financial statements.
So
Yeah.
is that an incurred but not realized expense?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, right. And so,
Oh, glad
so
to
right.
know
So
that.
it's adding a liability to the balance sheet on the bottom. Very good. Yeah, very good. Yeah. So it's like It's like the pension. It's just the
Okay.
number that's in the financial statements that shows that somebody owes it, but it does not, this and the property tax thing, they do not affect the day-to-day operations of the district. They're numbers that go into the financial statement. The tax issue isn't going to change how you budget, not going to change how you report to the state or anything like that. It's just something that goes into the financial statements. No, you're still going
No.
to pay it out at the regular
We're-
rate. You're still going
Yeah.
to pay it out at the regular rate,
The
but
value unused
it's
is
going to be, yeah, it's
different.
going to be the value unused.
So we don't have to pay it.
Yeah, you won't have to pay it out at that rate, but they want us to value it at the rate that it's earned at rather than the rate that it's paid out at. So. Right. I mean, it's just like the pension. I mean, they make us put this pension liability in there for $8 million for the district's share of the whatever the pension liability is. That doesn't mean the district's going to have to turn around and write a check to WRS for $8 million. You're still going to be paying at the actual contribution rate of 18.62 or whatever it is now. Okay. It doesn't make any sense but I mean, they're trying to capture all the liabilities that the district might have. Yeah, yeah, right. So they're just numbers that go into the financial statement. They don't affect the day-to-day budgeting operations, your foundation formula or anything like that. Okay, on that. So then on the financial statements, I'm going to turn to page 6 is the PDF. It's going to be the table of contents. And I've kind of went through these in the past. Just when we do our audit, we have two things. It's page 6 of the PDF. We have two components, what we're kind of talking about before. We have the numbers part of it, and then we have the compliance part of it. So I've highlighted down the yellow, the parts of the financial statements, which are the numbers, and then down the side are the green, which is the compliance part. Now the compliance part is the federal part, the federal piece. I also have to audit for the district's compliance with laws and regulations that I feel are material to the financial statement presentation. That doesn't mean there's all kinds of other rules and regulations that the districts has, state statute and state. I only concerned with what affects the financial statement numbers. And then when we get in the financial statements, like I've explained in the past, we have the 3 different sets of reporting. We have the budget, and that's going to be just how Angie's budgeted, and that's a report you get monthly. And then we have the fund financial statements, the reporting on like restrictions, revenue streams. So like major maintenance has its own separate column because that's restricted for maintenance. Or the school lunch has its own thing because that money's restricted for school lunch. Or the BOCES or the rec meal, they're all restricted. So they have their own revenue streams and their own expenditures. So they each have their own columns in here. And then we smash it all together, and then we have the full accrual on the entity wide where everything's all combined. And that's on page 5 to 6. And then the green is the blue on the table of contents is the fund by revenue streams. And then the pink there on the top is the full accrual. I'm going to turn to page 8, PDF page 8. And I just highlighted some things on here. Everything in the yellow there's related to your reporting of the Wyoming retirement system liabilities. They track things, how they change by experience, how they change by change in assumptions, and how they change by change in investment valuations. Those are the things in yellow. And the big item there, I talked about the net pension liabilities, $8 million there. That's not something you have to pay. It is shown that you owe it, but it's not something you pay. It does affect the district because I think WRS contribution rates, did they go up again? Next year, okay. So I mean, that's the state trying to square that up on that. So that does affect the district because it keeps increasing that contribution rate. The other item there in green that I highlighted, that's the compensated absences. That's the sick leave and the vacation leave that went up significantly from what it was in the last year. Then on the next page, this is the profit and loss, full accrual, and we have what the district spent there, and that's the column that's highlighted in the yellow. What we were able to charge for those services, what you received in grants and contributions towards that. And then the pink there, that's the net cost to the taxpayers. And that has to be subsidized by the tax monies and the state equalization payments down the side in the orange, down at the bottom in the orange. And it essentially was break even. You had a profit of $425,000. A lot of that's due to the pension liability going backwards. So the pension liability actually gained, which reduces your expenses because the interest rates and things like that, the rate of return on the WRS squared up that liability a little bit more. So the assets increased with the future benefits staying the same. So it reduces the liability of the WRS. Then I'm going to skip ahead to page 11 of the PDF. And this is the balance sheet. This is on the spendable resources. So we can see we have the general fund, major maintenance, and the federal funds, and then the smaller funds are there in the non-major on the far right in the total. And then I just put the 24 data in there. The cash is down a little bit, but that's just how we ended up changing a little bit on how we did the payroll benefits that are on the teacher's summer payroll. That's taken out of the cash in the 24 data, but it's shown as a liability there in the 25 data. So that would come out of the 2.4 million on hand. So everything is real similar there. And again, then the big amount down there is the taxes unavailable. And that's taxes collected in advance again. Then on page 9, this is the profit and loss, PDF page 13. And I just put the 24 data in there in that yellow column. As you can see, the general fund revenues was up about $700,000. Expenditures were up a little bit. Part of that is the bus leases. The $500,000 you did in bus leases are shown as an expenditure. So if you take that out, everything's real comparable there. We had a net increase in the general fund on this basis of $200,000 for the year. That's kind of what I wanted to cover in the financial statements. I'm going to go clear to the back now. Page 57 of the PDF, 56 and 57. And this is the statement of federal awards. And this is the federal money you've received. We're required to report this into the financial statements. We track it by the number there, the 5-digit number there. That's how the federal government tracks their money. We show who it came through and what it's for. Last year, we ended up at $2 million for federal money, including school lunch, Title I, ESSER, 6B, so on, Title II, 21st century. The one thing is that this is going to our threshold for doing a federal audit this year is $750,000. That's going to go up to $1 million. So it's going to be close because you're going to take the ESSER money out for next year for 25, 26. You're going to take the ESSER money out. That's 563 because that program's done. And then the DARA money is going to come out. And then it's going to, and of course, your school lunch money is going to come out because you discontinued operations at the high school of that. So it's going to be close whether we're doing a federal audit or not last year. And then this one thing came up on the audit, and I've talked with Angie about it, and it's very explainable. On page, we always have the small office size, but on page 65 of the PDF, and she put a great explanation in there. Kind of changed how we're doing the counting, the transfers between the general fund and the school lunch. In the past, we'd moved all the money into the school. It's been a little bit because under the COVID money, you got all that school lunch money. You didn't have to put any money into it for a while. But in the past, we'd always just do a transfer into the school lunch, and then we'd reimburse the general fund for the payroll on everything. And so what we did is now we're just going to pay the money out of the general fund, and then we'll capture that money, include it into the lunch fund for the financial statements. But it ended up causing a little bit of a over expenditure, the transfer line item of the financial statements for the general fund. And so I noted that, and then we put together a response there on that on 54 to make sure that that doesn't happen in the future. It's just kind of a bookkeeping thing that caused it, but it is what it is. So on that, that's kind of what I want to cover on tonight. I don't know if there's any questions on anything.
Does anyone have any
Brad looks
questions?
perplexed.
It's yeah, that's a hard, you guys are doing a hard job.
Yeah, no, that's great. I enjoy working with everybody. Everybody's so responsive, very helpful. I mean, I've got a question and they can, give me my answer right away. A real pleasure to work with everybody. So
We appreciate that too. All right. Well, thank you very much.
Thank you for your time.
We appreciate it.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know. I gotta see what the roads are like. I'm so busy. We got all this work to do for all our other districts that are kind of in the same boat you are. It was fine till I got about 20 miles east of Newcastle, and then it started misting.
It was raining in Gillette.
It was raining in Gillette.
Yeah, it's gonna be an ice skating rink
55 in
as soon as
Casper today, but
as soon as it drops to below freezing, I think it's gonna be an ice rink.
yeah. So I kind of looking to see what it's like. So, but thank you for your time. I
Thank you very
appreciate it.
much.
So, okay.
Drive safe.
All right, we will move on to action items, the consent agenda, and I would like to note, just for those watching, that this is the meeting where we vote to approve our official depositories for money, as well as designating our official publications, who will sign what, and that just happens once a year. So may I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the consent agenda. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. We have no old business. Under new business, financial audit report. Brad?
Yeah, Madam Chair, I would recommend to the board the approval of the fiscal audit that just was reported for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025.
So move.
It's been moved and seconded to approve the financial audit report for the fiscal year ending June 30th, 2025. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. And again, thank you, Angie, and everyone who helped get that done.
The new store. This is the one-stop shop. We have a pharmacy. We have a bootlegger's liquor. The deli, the food that you can get at a lunchtime is so amazing. The coffee shop. Certain Friday mornings, there's 30 people sitting here in all these chairs. This is the hub for people to come and visit, have their coffee, have their donuts. It's amazing what this area has done. Totally amazing.
Madam Chair, I would ask that we table B at this time, since you really don't have, I mean, the whole idea behind setting the your dates and your times is based on the reorganization, which I think
Okay.
would be better served when attendance of the board was
Okay, would
improved.
someone like to move to table? Wait, do we move to table it? Yeah, we have to all agree. I was ready to not do this, wasn't I? It's been moved and seconded to table, the final consideration for our yearly meeting dates and times until our next meeting in January. C, approval of the 2026-27 school calendar.
Yeah, so in your packet, Madam Chair, I would make the recommendation to approve the school calendar for the 2026-2027 school year at this time.
You have a motion?
I'll move.
Second.
It's been moved to approve the
The
26-27.
the calendar that's actually in your
Yeah.
packet. It's not, I'm not asking for the two. I'm just asking for the calendar for the 26-27 that was in the original packet. And then at the next meeting, I believe there'll be a recommendation for the 27-28 school year. And then those that are in employment that you have to plan vacations further out than 1 year. That I believe is the reason for the request. And so by doing that, then they could make better family plans knowing the calendar.
Okay. Is there any discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion carried. I'm going to go back to the tabled item B and suggest that we have a motion to meet on January 17th, 14th. So that's an official meeting. May I have a motion that we meet on January 14th?
I'll make that motion.
That would be a regular scheduled meeting
Were we regularly?
in a regular.
Right. So we
Sequence.
are going to approve. Okay. It's been moved and seconded. Any more discussion? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Those opposed, nay. Motion is carried. We will meet January 14th. Sorry, I didn't think of that 3 minutes before. Transportation request for bid.
So, Madam Chair, before I hit the next two items, and I'll go back to what we just heard in the audit. My first recommendation is that we go ahead and we go out for bid. I think that's wise. But remember, we are in sort of a unique situation with our student enrollment. And so I think what we have to really watch on both of these next items is whether we can actually move forward with those and not put the district in financial harm. And I understand what the state recommendation is on replacing buses and maintaining them. But also, here's the other thing that really does concern me is we could end up in a situation with our enrollment where you're actually having to reduce staff to fit a budget and benefits, and then turn around and purchase buses. And I can tell you over the years, 30-some years of doing this, there are two different funds and there's two different ways of looking at it. But if you were in a RIF situation of staff and you're bringing in a new fleet, the perception is that you're not being very transparent with your people. So I think it's only wise that we look at that. And remember, we are in this situation because several years ago when we had the fire, I mean, we looked like $1 million at that time because we had a fleet that was all brand new. The problem with that is all brand new also means that your renewal probably hits at the same time. And with our student numbers, I've asked Troy, the transportation director, to even look at how we run routes, how we maybe can combine routes. And with our shortage of staff, maybe the idea that we have to pay more isolation and not run some routes. There's a lot of moving pieces to this, but Madam Chair, with that, I would recommend to the board that we allow to go out to bid, but that we actually look at the budget before we actually make a purchase on that bid proposal on D.
And so that we would look, we'll have to look at our 20, our next budget.
I
Not
think
the
you have to
program
look
one.
at your next
Yeah.
budget. I
So
think you have to really look at
taking
your
into
state numbers.
consideration.
And here's the other thing, and this is a different problem. Our biggest problem is our enrollment. I don't know what's going to happen legislatively, but I know legislatively isn't going to change your student numbers. And what really worries me is you could get the double whammy. You could have a loss of student numbers, a loss of money. I mean, the reason they're asking for that money early, guys, is we all know why. And yet, let's face it, there's 3 or 4 things there that if there's any error in judgment, where's that money come from? Because you've already just reported it as, yeah,
Mhm.
and you're worried about going to prison.
All right. May I have a motion to allow the bidding process to begin, but to not purchase until we are looking at our next budget round?
I'll second.
It's been moved and seconded to allow going out for bids for one MPV 9-passenger Suburban for 25-26, depending on budget. Is there any other discussion, questions? Jason?
Madam Chair, I know Brad briefly touched on it, and I don't know if Troy during his committee, but I think something else, not just the student number, but like Brad said, staffing those buses as a whole to begin with. You know, I mentioned earlier 8 routes and only 2 drivers, and it not getting any better. You know, we have or are going to be looking at seeing what more routes we can combine. You know, and like I said, Brad briefly touched on it about, you know, doing some compensation for some other things. So again, not that need, you know, take that lightly, but like you said, I know it's just a recommendation to get some quotes, but I think that's something as a board, we're really going to have to get our globe out and look into the future and really see, is this that, I mean, cause it's not cheap.
And we also don't know if the legislature is going to continue to reimburse transportation costs.
Right. So.
And truly, you
or
know,
Department
guys,
of Agriculture, whoever it is now.
for the last 30 years, one of the things that we commonly use is don't worry because it's reimbursed. Years ago, when we looked at joining the Black Hills Conference, a lot of that was for our activities. Number one, it was shorter. Number two, it would cost a lot less money because think about it, in the Black Hills Conference, your longest trip was still shorter than your shortest trip in the existing conference. Don't worry about it because it's all reimbursed. It's all reimbursed. I'll believe that as long as it stays reimbursed, but I don't see how much longer that's going to be able to survive either. And so there's just a lot of moving pieces. I mean, I think Paul hit it right on the nose. I mean, you look at just the changes that he's faced, and then you look at what's going on at the federal level. And just because it's sour grapes, but I'm going to mention it again, twice in the last 4 years, there's been an error in the funding model, and every one of them have been a negative. There's not a single time somebody said, oh, shucks, Brad, you got a little bit more money than we thought. It's always been oopsie daisy, and now this costs you a little bit more money. And I understand what everyone, I mean, we'd like to keep things the way they've always been. but something's going to have to give.
All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Another transportation request.
Madam Chair, I'd have the same recommendation to the board. And again, it's a wait to see and how we can go forward and make that purchase.
And you still want to go ahead and put this out to bid because we didn't specify that in this.
Yeah, I think you can go out for bid and look, so you're
Okay.
one step ahead.
So-
You're not, I don't think it's fair for Troy to have to run around at the last minute and
Yeah.
try to come up with numbers. And the other thing, if you have some numbers, it does help you build a budget
Yeah.
instead of just an estimate. I mean,
Yeah.
if you're talking actual numbers.
Okay.
And then if the legislation changes on any piece of the model, I think you guys should reserve the right to also reflect that change.
Madam Chair, I'll make that motion with the added change to go out for bid for item E.
Thank you. May I have a second?
Second.
It's been moved and seconded to go out to bid for the purchase of one 75-passenger school bus for the 26-27 year, but wait to purchase until we have more solid budget numbers at our disposal. Any further discussion? Dana?
And I want to make sure I understand it right, because it is the state that requires us to do it in 15 or 17 years, right? It's not just us wanting a new bus because we want to have a new bus. It's
So
because
their guidelines, which is chapter 2, it says the key word is shall.
you shall do this, so you don't have an option.
Well,
So the life cycle for a bus is type D and C is 17 years. For Suburbans and type A, it's 15 years.
Angie?
There's also a paragraph in there that says that the fleet can remain in the district as long as it is safe. I mean, there's all these rules, so it isn't that way I read it, you don't have to do it at 117,000 miles or 214, whatever. You have to make sure it's safe to keep it in your fleet. So, I mean, I don't think we'd put our
That sounds
kids
like
on
a
unsafe.
kind of
Yeah,
conflict in the rules and regs, huh?
well, but truly, I think the other thing that we need to be thinking about is, are you going to run a 60-passenger bus for, 6, 7 kids? And maybe 60 helps if you reconstruct, but with our current drivers, 2 of them right now can drive a Suburban, but they can't take a bus. And if you look at some of our team sizes, I mean, we went to a wrestling venue just yesterday in 2 Suburbans. Years ago, we would have never had those options because of our numbers, but in today's world, it's even affecting activities numbers. And I think as you look at shortages, I think it's fair to assume some of the coaches are going to quote double dip. And I think it's only fair to let the world know this, but they're going to get paid as a bus driver to get kids to and from. Probably not the best situation, but it's better than sitting at home. And then they're going to get paid as a coach when they're coaching at the venue. Then they're going to get done with that and they're going to jump back in and become a driver. I believe this is what we did back in the 20s and 30s, but I wasn't around. But I just don't know, when you look at everything we do with our staffing patterns, you're going to have to do more with less. And maybe that is part of the budget. Maybe we don't bring back the number of staff, but in transportation, here's your double whammy. Don't bring back your staff because you need buses. So now we have a bus there, but now you don't have a driver.
I cover these things extensively, so I know exactly what's going on. And we write these stories and tell people exactly what's going on. And then you go back on Facebook now and you see people that are like, oh my God, what are they doing? What are they doing with this money? We raise this money for this, are they spending it on that? And I just want to encourage people to go and ask the people that can tell you.
Yeah. Or read the paper.
Or read the newspaper, because you can go to our website with a subscription and search city Newcastle City Council, and every city in Newcastle story will pop up for you.
Or legal notice.
Or legal notice. There's lots of ways to find that information, and I just find it so silly because you watch these people ask these questions on Facebook to people that really have no clue what's going on, and then you get this thread of 400 different comments contradict each other and include half truths and whole lies and assumptions
But in transportation, here's your double whammy. Don't bring back your staff because you need buses. So now we have a bus there, but now you don't have a driver. Well, then obviously I don't think the buses serve the kids any good. But it probably looks good sitting there on the line. But it's just an interesting time. I mean, our enrollment issue is really my number one concern moving forward with anything, and it's going to affect personnel. And I'll come right out and tell you, we're overstaffed. And I would argue that with anybody that would like to argue that in the room. And I do not need a legislative body to tell me that 15 or 25 is what constitutes a class. I think we all are capable of understanding fiscal responsibility. If we don't look at that chart back there and tell me, why are you 28th in pay? Because if you want to go up in pay and down in student numbers, you have to relook at what you're doing. It's a business model.
Got a bus question?
Oh, I got another question. Go ahead. Let me know when I got another question.
Okay, so I got lost. Any more bus questions? All those in favor, please signify by saying aye. Opposed, nay. Motion is carried. Mr. Crabtree.
I asked my question.
Yes, sir.
When are we going to start working on those issues before it's too late?
When I get back in January, I will have a draft ready for you to look at, including the wish list of new positions and areas I think you could cut back and not take away programs for kids. Newsflash. Nobody's going to be happy.
That's understandable. Nobody ever is. You give and it's hard to take
Well,
away.
you know, there are some things that would be nice to have. I openly admit. I mean, but at the same time, you're going to have to really look at how your schools are reconfigured. And our student enrollment is continuing a down spiral. We're still above 700, but 703.
So we're down 5 since the last time I heard numbers.
I believe that's correct.
But you got it. I was going to say we have some in new middle school.
704.
All right.
3 + 2 is 5.
Administrators reports. Mr. Gregory, what's new in IT?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I really don't have a bunch. Right now, we're just in the process of wrapping up those projects I talked about in the last meeting. Should have those all wrapped up. If not, by the end of this December, we'll be going in and finishing up in January. So that's really about all I have, unless there's any questions.
Does anyone have any questions for Bo? Thank you.
Thank you.
Adam?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mine's short, I guess, however long you guys want to make it. The pool's up and going, was on schedule, all the boilers are in. Everything's looking good. So I guess whatever questions you guys have on that. The other one I have for you is we had the building and grounds meeting 3 months ago. We had talked about a lawnmower we were going to tear into. We literally jacked it up in the rear and fell out from underneath it. And the frame was broken in 4 spots. It's unrepairable. So at some point we're going to have to bite the bullet and buy a small lawnmower for the elementary. But other than that, I'll entertain any questions about the pool or anything else.
Well, rest in peace, lawnmower. You did it. You had lived a good life. Thank you, Adam. Randy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'm following suit. I really don't have much to report. Things are super busy right now at the elementary as we wrap up that quarter and we're doing all the fun Christmas holiday things. But yeah, you're welcome to come join us for any of those next week. It's a little crazy. I did want to give you a heads up. Our computer club that we have in the morning with Mr. Nelson, they're going to do the competition again this year. I can't remember the name of it. Anyway, they have 3 separate challenges that they have to do, and they completed their first one. So Mr. Nelson and the kids are putting together a video, and they're just going to email it to you. I think the thought of coming here and showing you was a little overwhelming. So they're going to make you a video so you can kind of see, and it's pretty cool. So I think you'll enjoy it. And then also just giving you some numbers along with our computer club that we have in the morning. We also do our morning reading club, and that's kids can come in and read with younger kids, read, take quizzes, that kind of thing. One of our parents does that, and actually our numbers are kind of going up on that. She's, around 25, 30 kids every morning. So just letting you know, we fund that with Title I, but yeah, it's turning out to be something that we need. So other than that, I don't have any questions for you. Or I don't have anything else unless you have questions for me.
How's PT?
Not great yet.
Yeah,
but-
painful.
Yep.
Bryce.
Thank you, Madam Chair. 2 things I'd like to share. Band and choir concerts are next week, Monday and Tuesday, paired with the middle school as well. So Tyler will probably mention that. And then I wanted you to write down an event on your calendar on February 18th, and we'll have our career and trade fair. As of today, we have 65 yeses from local and area businesses or military branches or colleges to come attend that. So I think that's a pretty good event. And if any of your guys in your professions would like your group represented, you can contact us at the high school, and we'd love for you to have a table representing what you do for our community. It'll be from noon to about 3:15 that day. But I think it's a great event, and I think it's really good for our students. We've taken some feedback from students the last 2 years, going to try to change some things up a bit to make it fit. Because we kind of started with a canned approach 9-12, but now we're trying to fit grade levels a little more specifically where they are in their development and career development. And so looking forward to that event, and Zach and Maggie, Mr. Beam and Mrs. Hunters here are doing a great job getting that ball rolling.
Excellent. I saw that they've been out on social media getting the word out already, so that's awesome. And it's my understanding that the state superintendent of public instruction may be able to attend that day.
That is the plan as of right now, so that would be pretty cool.
Yes. Anyone have questions for Bryce? Thank you.
Thank you.
Troy?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I have a few things I want to talking about the buses, the Suburbans and buses and stuff like that. I can understand that's definitely a budget issue. But as we move forward with the buses, like this year for 26-27, there's 1 bus up to be replaced. The next year there's 6 buses. So what we're finding out right now, as the buses are getting older, we have buses, most of those are activity buses, and they have between 150 and 210,000 miles on them. So we're finding out right now the repairs on them are going up. We've had a lot of issues with buses. Adam's definitely keeping busy. So that's just one of the things that we got to consider looking forward. Again, the sizes of sports are going down. So we have been doing Suburbans, not because we want to, but because the drivers, there really hasn't been an option. Like Tyler said, there's teachers doing it. There's coaches doing it. We appreciate everything that they do. If we have the drivers, we'll send them, but it's a tight situation, transportation. Jason commented too about, we had 2 route drivers and 8 routes, and we did the best that we could. We ran 2 Suburbans on Route 2. We got everything covered, but we did have to run 2 Suburbans for middle school wrestling. So definitely it's tight, not just drivers, but of course money's tight. The other thing that we had the transportation committee meeting earlier, and we talked about Osage. That stop has been a pain to try to figure out. Went up to, we have a driver that lives in Osage, and she told us that there's been some work done to a couple of the roads up there. So I went up there Monday and looked at the roads. The roads are mats that go up to the old kiddie boats. So the first part of that road, it looks pretty good. Then if you turn left on Park all the way to Sheridan Street, it looks pretty good. So that's an option that we can do. I've tried reaching out to the church up there to use their parking lot to turn around, and I don't get any answers. I've taken a letter up there. They've got the letter, but I still have no answers from them. So we talked about possibly just going ahead and trying the Park Met Street.
I thought we had a verbal from the church.
We had a verbal, but you asked for a written letter from them.
Right. Well, Madam Chair and Troy, here's where I think we are. If it really is a safety issue,
Okay.
I think we do it.
Okay.
And if somebody doesn't like it, then they need to tell us in writing, because here's what we don't need. This is 5 months.
Yeah. And the
Safety issues don't go 5 months.
and the county commissioner, I told Jason that he would like an update too, because they really were concerned about the kids crossing, and that's when they offered the spot. And actually offered to do the work and gravel it. So
I would like to show you the stitches, but I'm not. But I can understand why the community is a little frustrated. Because I don't think we would do that with any other group of kids. I would say do it. If the church doesn't like it, then the church can come tell us. At least then the community knows that we've done something for kids.
And
But
they-
this idea of waiting for somebody to get hurt, I just think it's bad business. That's just my,
I definitely understand that, but I don't think we've had anyone cross the street. Everyone's taken their kids to the stop.
Yeah.
From what I understand, we've had calls that kids have crossed with their bikes. And those days that they said that happened, there was no one at that stop. So yeah, it's definitely a safety issue and we need to move it. We talked earlier about moving it on Monday and start doing
Okay.
it on Monday. I'm good with
All
that.
right.
We can contact the parents up there and let
That'd
them
be
know.
I don't know what the fact is, but here's what I will tell you. The public relation piece to this thing is a wreck.
Yeah.
So the other thing is just talking about the restructuring, the numbers on the buses and stuff like that. It varies from morning and afternoon routes. Some mornings there's hardly any kids. Afternoons there's a whole bunch of kids. So we're going to look at possibly restructuring routes, not just because of the size of the buses, but because of the number of the drivers we have. So that's all I have.
Okay. Do I have anything to add now, or you want to?
We can do that. Save some time. And really not to beat a dead horse, one of the things we were looking at too, is getting with Daniel to see about stopping in front of the fire hall that's not being utilized anymore. But again, if we're planning on moving ahead with the church, again, we're going to start all that Monday. But that is one of the options to get with Daniel and see if we can utilize that stop in front of the fire hall as well. Troy talked about it again, looking at some routes and combining routes. The other issue we're having is because Troy and those that are helping put on driving classes are having to fill the spots of drivers. That is impeding the learning time for those that are trying to get trained on buses. So we're reaching out to Dakota Tech to see, I think it's a two-day training. It is $1,000. But again, with them guys having to drive buses, we're not getting the opportunity to train those that are trying to train to drive a bus. So another option is the Dakota Tech, and I think Sean mentioned Campbell County as well. So Troy's going to
At the college or?
Yeah. So Troy's going to reach out and kind of get some more information. But again, just going back to, even if we have people to train, we're having issues training them because our trainers are driving buses. So that's all I got for that.
And I was going to ask too, like when you're having to take routes, are you able to stay in communication well with if someone else is having a problem?
Yeah, usually. I mean, we try to keep the mechanic at the shop in case there's any issues with the buses.
Okay.
So something I forgot to mention with you guys is, um, like the issue yesterday, we had the two drivers. One of our drivers right now, Wendy McCleary's been out she had foot surgery. I don't know when she's gonna come back or if she's gonna come back. She wants to come back, but we're not sure. I was out with surgery. I've been driving this week, but we also had another driver. I don't know if you guys heard Al Costello had a heart attack last week. So he's out at least 2 months. He's got to go get tested to get clearance.
Shoot.
But if he comes back too, so we don't know where he stands on that.
Oh, sorry to hear that.
Yeah.
And I don't know, Troy, if this is a Troy question or Brad question. When it comes to the Suburbans, can the school take volunteers, i.e. board members and things like that to drive those? How does that work?
So I'm glad you asked that question. So because we are so short drivers, recently Sean got his Class B CDL school bus and passenger endorsements. He is driving bus on Friday to Lusk. Next week, he is driving to Buffalo. Then I think is it Powell or Worland? Worland. So he's going to be gone 3 days. So if he didn't take that trip, they wouldn't be going unless we could somehow figure out how to do it in Suburbans.
So how does that work, Troy, if I put my name in the hat to that won't be an issue.
Yeah, the background check, driving record request, we do that.
Okay.
Then the training.
And so what's the training? How long is that?
That 2-day one.
Depends as far as when we're training you.
Well, like I said, for the Suburban, that type of, not necessarily the full CDL, but
Suburban is more the driving record request and the background check. I would hope he would have one, but
yes. So put my name in that and I'll get with
can do
you
that.
and whatever we need to do to fill out that paperwork.
This place is full of, you can tell the people that like to be with old people because they really take care of you good and are very kind.
Twice a day, every day, activities people have an organized activity that's always interesting.
Everybody loves to play bingo. We play it 3 times a week here. We also have ceramics that you can paint. Really pleasant to live here. It's a good place to be.
Mr. Crabtree.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Okay. So know this. If you're on the board, you don't get paid. Now, if we're on the board, our rooms paid and our food?
Yes. Rooms, I don't know about per diem.
We'll buy you some food at that.
I don't need no food. Look at me.
We got you. You'll figure it out.
Good. Hey, what the commons room will take care of me.
I
So,
probably won't
Sean?
drive, but I could pack a lunch for somebody.
Hold on a second. Sean, as far as the rooms, we cover that, but as far as the per diem, Angie says that we cannot do the per diem for food. But most motels these days, they at least have the breakfast.
But yeah, I was
If
just
you're a
being-
driver,
to let him know.
sure.
Okay.
Most drivers, if you're going to a tournament like the one up there, they have food for the drivers.
Yeah.
So you'll be good.
Oh, I know right where they're at.
Okay, well, maybe, is there a way you think we could get the word out to the community to get a few more volunteers? Do we ask all the coaches to tell their players to talk to their parents or? How do we?
I feel like the word's out.
Okay.
That's just
It,
And I did just,
Okay.
Madam Chair, I just did confirm we can use the Osage Fire Hall as a bus stop.
Okay, good. Thank you. So yeah, we can get the word out. A lot of the coaches know, some have been driving.
okay.
Doug Scribner has been driving the middle school coaches too.
Okay. Angie.
It does take time to get a background check back. I know you have one, but if you haven't had one in the last 90 days, our policy is, or our procedure is that it has to be redone. The fingerprints, 90, I know. That's what. And then, so you get the fingerprints, bring both in, and then we send them out for background checks. You got people?
Well, can't an individual request a background check on themselves that to be sent to someone else?
I don't think so.
Or does the employer?
We have to send it to DCI, so.
Oh, I didn't know if it went down here and
No.
then to them or, okay.
We send the fingerprints to DCI with the check and then they send the results back.
Okay.
Sometimes it's a week, sometimes it's 2 weeks.
How much of yours bringing in for the school?
Okay, just do it like we normally do. Okay. Fingerprint cards on.
And I'm here to tell you, don't fail. Because it will make the newspaper now.
Okay. Anyone have any more questions for Troy or our committee chair, Jason? All right. Mr. Bartlett.
I will be quicker than that.
Very festive.
Thank you. Speaking of, the concerts start at 7 p.m. that Bryce mentioned. You guys are all welcome next Monday and Tuesday. And then more chaos next Friday, December 19th. We will be hosting 7th and 8th grade girls basketball districts. Those games start at 10 a.m. and it is a school day. And it's going to be a little bit chaotic, but everybody's welcome to come and enjoy some good basketball before we go on break. And then other than that, at the middle school, just working on second semester schedules and intervention groups and those kind of things. And I'd entertain any questions about buses or anything else.
Anyone have questions for Tyler?
Wrestling.
Yes, that is district wrestling is happening in Sundance. But I'm just, because the chaos will be here, I bring up the basketball. That's someone else's circus that I'm not worried about.
Yes. All right. Angie.
I was just gonna give you an update on the pool repair cost today, for the liner, basically, was $247,150. The donations that we received that we thank all the donors for was $137,112.07. Major maintenance, 10% money paid $70,000 and $40,040 came out of general fund to cover that cost.
Wow. Well done, fundraisers.
Thanks.
Truly. Yeah, that's really amazing. All right, Mr. LaCroix.
Madam Chair, I think I've said enough.
Any questions? Presley Fitzwater, congratulations on all the student council accomplishments.
So as we all know, fall sports have wrapped up. We had quite a few names for different awards and different things. So kudos to all of them. That means winter sports are underway, so everybody's competing for the first time this weekend. A little bit of a recognition that I probably should have said sooner is thank you to our booster club. They hosted and put together, cooked for us everything for Meet the Dogies on last Saturday. That was super huge that we got to include all of the winter sports. So very big thanks to them and the ladies that did that. Mr. Hoffman focused on everything about student council. I would like to mention kind of our hunger initiative that we started. So at WASC, hunger initiative is a huge thing. the First Lady, Mrs. Gordon, comes down, she talks to us, hands out awards, all the different things. And we kind of wanted to take a different approach to it. So our student council group has decided to do student council lunches. And so we'll vote on a lunch once a week. And then we'll attend lunch at our school. Most of us don't eat at school because, you know, shortstop and Taco Johns are a thing. So it's kind of brought in a bigger group. The lunchroom was pretty full on Monday. So that was nice to see. I think the lunch ladies were pretty happy to see a lot more of our faces. So we're in hopes that whatever day student council decides to eat lunch, that we have donors from our community kind of pay forth. So anybody who wants to eat at school that day can have a free meal and doesn't have to worry about it. And so we hope it promotes food awareness at the high school. We hope to eventually include the middle school students council, and then just kind of gives us a bonding point of view, brings awareness to what our lunch ladies are working very hard at. And so I've never ate a school lunch in high school, so that was my first time. It was very, very delicious. So that's kind of like our plan right now. It was a test run, so hopefully by January we'll have more information on that. FFA, FBLA, all the clubs. Kudos to the advisors because they've put on a bunch of different Christmas activities and meetings. So we've all got to enjoy the festivities of the year. FFA recently went to the elementary school and we hung out with first through fifth graders and did different ag-based activities. I think second grade made butter and third grade made ice cream. So that was pretty cool. Big hit for them. So thanks to the elementary school for allowing us to do that. FBLA will be selling smoothies at the games on next Thursday. I also believe girls wrestling will be home that day too. So if you need a smoothie, stop by. And they will be helping with the refinery Christmas party this weekend. More festive things. Sources of Strength is planning a dress up week for the last week of school for all the different Christmas things. So good job to them. FCCLA went to the Manor today to play bingo with the residents. This has been a popular thing, kind of hits close to home as I'm very familiar with all of them there. I know that's huge for them, especially around the holiday season. It can kind of be boring and lonely. So a big thank you to that group. National Honor Society inducted 8 new members into the club, I guess you can say. So that was really a good turnout for that. And then we so like your membership doesn't really like count until you're a senior. If that makes any sense. If you're a senior and you're inducted as a senior, you're just like a member. So like the previous group went to help stuff the bus. So we helped load all the cans and everything and then take them over to the bread office. And then just as finals kind of wrap up this week and next week, I want to thank Mrs. Robin Stanton for filling in for Mrs. Reed as well as Mrs. Reed. She just had a baby, if none of you don't know that, but she has been very easy to contact. I'm in her trigonometry class, and so Mrs. Stanton has stepped in and filled a role that has helped us very immensely for only taking trigonometry when she was in high school. So that's a huge kudos to her, but also to Mrs. Reed for being available for us and all of our questions we have with that. All of us, I think, are doing very good in trigonometry, so that's huge. And another thank you to the Career and Trade Fair. They've spent, I think, all year working on this. Thanks for them. They allow a lot of student opinions, so that's nice to have because it's kind of what we want for that day too. And I think that's all that's going on at the high school.
Awesome. Does anyone have any questions for Presley? Thank you. Got a BOCES update?
Nothing to mention.
Okay.
We'll be doing our elections. Nothing to mention, we'll be doing our elections this next coming up meeting, so.
Okay. Dana?
Yes, I had one on the Wednesday of fall conference. It lasted about 15 minutes. They went over budget, elected officers, and we were off and running. That was it.
Okay. Brad?
Madam Chair, if I could just add on real quick. So last week, it was brought to the superintendent's attention that there may be some legislation in this next session limiting public school students, the number of credits that they can earn, both dual and concurrent credit. And it dealt, the way it was pitched, and I'm not saying it's true, but the way it was pitched is that the legislators were worried that there was too much inequities between public school kids and homeschool kids. And the only way to make it more equal was to minimize the public school exposure. There was also a number at that time thrown out that the junior colleges were losing roughly $3 million. I tried to let them know that if they're going to limit that number, I think that other number is going to become even higher, because remember, the more classes our kids take here, the more credits they get to account there. But at the end of the day, I don't understand why the word equity would have to come into this when, to my knowledge, they still want to use public school funds for homeschooling. There are no accountability rules or regs. There is no testing on the docket or required, although we will continue to hear that they all do better, and thank God they do. But I think there's a conflict on how this is being pitched, and I would ask all of you to watch it very closely. And I think there's an opportunity with some of our local legislators to understand by limiting that, it's going to impact our programs that we have built here over the years for our students over a fictitious number that I don't think anyone can tell you how they came up with a $3 million loss of funds.
Florida has lost track of 30,000, over 30,000 students in their voucher program. They don't know where they live, if they're going to school. They are something like they're missing they've spent almost $400 million more than they said they would, but they are missing 270 million dollars that they don't know where it went either. So the voucher programs are pretty much, Illinois has completely cut theirs out of existence because of all the problems. Knowing where kids are, that kids are actually going to school like the law says, I think is incredibly important. And yeah, that's just a couple of pieces of legislation coming that are scary. I will mention this right now too. There's also the move to make sure that organizations like the Wyoming School Boards Association, High School Activities Association, although they don't do any lobbying per se, I've heard them lumped in with this. There are some legislators who don't want any public entities having lobbyists. So that would be the County Commissioners Association, WAM, WSBA, the Superintendent's Group. They just want to outlaw any of those groups getting any public money to lobby. So those are really important for us for continuing education. And I think it would be a really bad thing. The other one that we're going to have to watch is Bo Beitman wants all public schools and possibly all public entities to be forced to choose the state insurance program. A couple of the things that would mean is people who are working over 20 working 20 or plus hours a week would have to be covered. You can only get dental or vision if you're getting the full medical. So if someone didn't need medical, but they wanted dental, we would still have to pay the entire thing. One central Wyoming district, and not the biggest one, but did the calculation, being forced to change from WEBT to the state plan would cost them $1.6 million a year for a less stably funded and fewer benefits program than we are getting with WEPT. But perhaps the worst part of that is just continuing to want to take local control. Some of them seem to want to control everything. So, and then just looking at recalibration, I hope that some of us will be able to watch some of those hearings and possibly provide comment. I thought I would keep following that and try to keep you updated on that. So we had a 4-hour WEPT meeting yesterday, mostly talking about upcoming legislation, and WEPT did testify, as did WisBate, which is the insurance through WSBA, as did Blue Cross Blue Shield. But all the figures and a lot of that didn't matter. Mr. Beitman waited until just before the meeting was gavelled to say, ask to be recognized and to say, oh, by the way, LSO, I want you to draft legislation that forces all school districts into the state insurance plan. So that's how that discussion went. It wasn't a committee decision. He personally asked, so he could bring that to the committee. The other thing that WEPT is looking at is the possibility of, there's some programs out there called Centers of Excellence, and you look at their safety record, their complication record, the certifications and qualifications of their surgeons. This is mostly for surgeries. And that would be an option. It would be voluntary for someone in the plan to choose a surgery center of excellence. So let's say you had the option that you might have seen a doctor for a knee replacement in Rapid City, but there's a surgery center of excellence in Casper. One of the things they do is tell you the comparative cost. If you choose a surgery center of excellence, your transportation and lodging can be paid and waive your deductible. So it could save people a lot of money, and it could help people not put off surgeries if you feel like you don't have that deductible right now. So we're just looking at it, but that is something on the horizon that could save members money with WEPT. Just one more thing that could do that. So that's interesting to look at. I went to 11 seminars at the International Foundation of Benefits Trust Conference in rainy the first 3 days, Honolulu. But one of the big things I came away from, I went to 2 of my 8 or 11 seminars were about AI. And one of the things that one of them involved 2 attorneys and then some tech guys. And one of the things they said is, especially public entities, we need to make sure we know exactly what AI all of our vendors are using, and to make sure that if they are mining data with AI, that they're not reselling it. Every contract we do now should make sure that they have to reveal to us what AI they're using. And that obviously is probably going to affect you more than anybody. But it's something that we need to think about with vendors going forward, because it's getting in, I mean, they're following you around in the grocery store with AI stuff, so.
Can I?
Mhm, please.
Yeah, so really AI has been around for 15, 20. I mean, it's been there a long time, but through our service lease agreements that we send out to all our companies, it says, you know, you're responsible for our data. Data leaked, is your responsibility. So we've made a good effort of any new companies or any new software to send out our service lease agreements. And if they don't sign them, we don't go with them, which is it's good and bad, I guess. Because a lot of the free stuff
Mhm.
they're
That's
gonna
what-
mine it and sell
yeah.
it, and it is what it is. So within the last couple years, you know, we put that service lease agreement in use, 4 years ago, I think. So most everything that we have is covered, and it's a balance usually between, you know, what teachers want to use, and then because there's a lot of stuff we've sent and they said no, we will not sign it, and we just say no and move on and try to find something else.
Yeah, thank you. That was something I had never really thought of is you need to tell us what you're using. Jason?
Madam Chair, if I could back up, not necessarily my committee, but some of this could probably be set aside for discussion, but with the executive session, we're probably going to lose some people. For our conference we had in Casper,
Oh, yes.
some of the legal updates, and I probably for Sonia and our leadership team, and I didn't realize until we started talking about it, institutional discrimination on how we teach some of our subjects. And when we call Nazis racist, that's discrimination, and we can't do that. So it blew my mind. So just something to have probably Sonia take a look at.
Who was present or who was presenting that?
Our
The
attorneys.
attorneys.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so someone has sued.
Yeah, it is a new Wyoming law. So if we're not up on that, we probably need to look at that. And yeah,
I missed that one last year.
it's a thing. It shocked me, but hey, and then a couple other things we had, the Steamboat Legacy Scholarship, the Homeschool
Which is
Freedom
vouchers,
Act.
yeah.
The Homeschool Freedom Act. There's a new Wyoming law on that now.
It's still held up in court though.
Correct. And then the big topics for the attorneys this year was basically compelled speech, protected speech. So obviously there was a reason that they put that on this year's list. So that might be something we want to, you know, get with our attorneys and see, you know, what we need to look at. And then one other thing, there was a booth I talked with for our student council. I don't know if it's something we already do, but it's called J Boots.
Oh yeah.
That I found very interesting, and I was hoping we're doing something with that or have some participants in that. So
Okay, so last year, during WASC, J Boots had representatives come to like showcase, I guess you could say. So we have been very apt to the opportunity. Obviously it's for seniors. I think that's kind of just like the trend that Wyoming's like schools have taken, is the seniors get priority first, and then it just kind of like, you know, next year the next class will get it, and so on and so forth. I think in conversation with Mrs. Yu last year and this year, obviously the J Boots message and foundation is extremely powerful, and I think it relates to a lot of Wyoming students and just Wyoming people in whole. We haven't really like taken off with it because we have to find like a fundraiser, and we have to, figure out how many people are gonna want to do it or say they will, and kind of hold up their end. And so that's kind of just been the reason we haven't fully dived into it. But in conversation with our other like regional councils, so Sundance, Upton, Moorcroft, those kind of closer to us, we are looking into potentially doing like a joint fundraiser or something of some sort. And so it kind of benefits all of our communities, because I wouldn't say it's like incredibly expensive, but like it's easier for some of the bigger schools to kind of participate in this movement than it is for us smaller schools. So we're hoping that those councils will want to also join with us and do something in some way, raise the money for however many seniors to get a
And
pair
that
of
might be something we can get, and I don't want to speak for her, but with Mrs. Lip and 21 College.
We talked to her last year, and because of like the way her money is, you know, I don't know how to say it like professionally, but how her money is like divided, she can't.
Yeah, her
work
grant
with-
has certain
Yes,
specifications.
that's a better way of saying it. And so she was kind of behind the movement and liked the idea, but unfortunately, none of the money she gets for her program can be allocated to this program. But that was kind of with sources of strength is what we kind of were hoping for. But yeah.
So, Madam Chair, last spring, I did have two alum call, and they were going to put together sort of maybe like an alumni request to do that. It is very, very expensive, and the biggest problem is being able to sustain it over a period of years. Not knowing your true numbers, not knowing the true cost of boots, da, 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 da. It would take, it would take a lot of work to do a fundraiser, for Weston, Crook counties or wherever. But there have been groups that have done that, but generally speaking, you need a pretty generous, you need a pool donor, or something similar to get it kicked off.
And is their goal about, is it about mental health? I'm not really familiar with it. I've seen very few things, but it's about
Mental health.
suicide prevention and mental health. Is that?
It talks about what the cowboy way of life and how Wyoming sets this stereotype that you just kind of have to tough it out, but you don't have to. And so like it just advocates, you should go out and find help, or it's okay to like not be okay and to ask for that help. But like Mr. LaCroix said, it is a pretty like good chunk of money. And we're just trying to figure out like how can we keep it going for many years.
Mm-hmm.
I also think I feel like our community is constantly asked for money from different groups to sustain different things. Our advisors and our staff do a really good job of trying to schedule fundraisers, so people don't have to be asking the same people over and over again for different things. So I think that's kind of where we're stuck at in the moment, is just like, what are we gonna do to find this money? Like, is fundraising something we can do? Do we want to look for a donor? Like you guys have all talked about, this meaning money's tight, and like we don't want to have another reason to go out and ask for a. I think that's kind of just where we're at.
Thank you. Okay, I will finish up mine that there were over 5,000 people at this conference, and our opening speaker was Andrew Zimmern, the chef who goes around and eats interesting things all over the world, and his perspective and on life, and yeah, learned a lot. It is pretty intense, but it was really good. And apparently every other year when I go, I bring home COVID, so that was not nice. But anyway, um, anyone else have any report they'd like to share? I think we have everybody. Future agenda items, what I want to touch on really quick, and even though I'm assuming we will, under discussion after our executive session, we will table our committee appointments as well, but I have done some work, and I shared this with the executive committee to do some recombining with our committees and get us down from 8 to 5. And I'll just tell you this real quick so you can think about it. I'd like to add all the 2 transportation committees together. That would be my recommendation for that. Keep buildings and grounds separate. There has not been a curriculum committee meeting that I know of in the 9 years I've been on the board. So I would like to add curriculum to a policy review and make that a committee. And then to put budget and finance and human resources together, so that all the personnel and human resources and budget and finance are all there together. That's our main driving piece of our budget anyway. And then have our tech team be security, safety, and tech, because those are so closely tied together. And we do talk about security and safety a lot on this board. And I think that would better serve us going forward, so our committees can actually do some of the work to keep us learning and keep us on top of everything. And so I will make sure you have that we can put on our future agenda. Anyone else have any future agenda items besides elections? I would assume we'll put the committee appointments on that as well. And so that would keep you guys doing the same through next time. Okay. No more future agenda items. Ladies and gentlemen, there is crispy maple brown sugar Cheerio snack in the lounge. Please help yourselves. Merry Christmas. May I have a motion to enter an executive session?
So moved.
Second.
Actually, let's take a 5-minute break and then we'll do that. Thank you.
I do want to share with you all that Dennis Switzer, that comes with the Douglas team, you know, he's broadcasted the sports for 40 years, graduated from Newcastle, did lose his son in a tragic accident.
Because Joe and Tyler and Billy all expressed what they would like to do coming up, that means that our current reps to Northeast Wyoming BOCES and Eastern Wyoming College BOCES can remain the same if you guys would both like to still do those jobs.
Yes, I would.
So, and we don't have to vote on those, right? We just appoint. So I appoint you and anoint you. No, wait. All right. And who's going to be able to go to the legislative reception in Douglas on January 5th? I will go this year. I have not gone for a long time, but I will go because I need a little face time with a couple of those guys if I can. Yeah, it's a Monday.
What is it? You meet with
The legislative, yeah.
Country Club in Douglas.
Northeast.
Discuss different things. Usually they give the legislators an opportunity to showcase maybe some of the things they think are important or important to them, and what they're hearing. And then it also should give you a chance. I always try to let them know one thing. And I think the most important thing is they don't need an appointment. If they're in the area, they're free to stop by. If they're in a legislative conference or whatever, they have my cell phone, call. The problem with it is this, guys. It's not that it's a bad concept, but Madam Chair, you referred to this earlier. There's a lot of good ideas out there. There's not a lot of open ears out there.
No.
And I would tell you, my biggest fear is the decisions have already been made.
So is that kind of what this is about? So they can listen to some of our ideas?
Well, yeah, and just have that personal contact with them so that like if you haven't met Chip or JD and visited with them, that you have that opportunity to do that.
Well, and truly, we did receive, well, what was that? A couple weeks ago? I sent that out to you guys. JD basically said that, he would like to come in and see some things, wanted to know about schedule. And I just told him, when it works for him, just swing by. And there's nothing that, they all have different things that they really are interested in. That's what they should come and see. But the other thing they have to understand is the reason they should be doing that is they should be here to listen and not tell you more what they think you should be
Do you
doing.
remember what time that is? Is it at 5 or 6?
5:30, I think.
5:30.
is social.
5:30 and then 6 or something.
Okay.
And I didn't see the menu choices yet.
There's no choice. It's just now a reception with finger foods.
It's not dinner, it's a reception now.
Just no choice. Sean, are you going?
Times are tough.
Just
it's finger food.
Oh, yeah, 5:30. You're absolutely right.
Okay. Oh, Susan?
Do what? I can't hear everything.
Susan, January 5th, 5:30.
Are you able to
in
go to Douglas to the legislative thing on the 5th?
I will be back in Monterey. So I'm working in Monterey, California, 2 to 3 weeks out of every month for the next several.
So just you two. Okay.
Not a bad place to be working on.
It's not, but I am at the Monterey County Jail with 950 inmates, and it's a mess.
Sorry.
Welcome to my world. I'm at 702.
Yeah.
Plus
I
9.
have the Serrano.
Plus 9.
I have the, yeah. I was asking the different colors of uniforms today, and they said, oh, those are the Serranos. I said, oh, okay.
They're the what?
The
Oh,
jail gangs.
Peppers. I'm like, Serrano peppers? What?
Yeah. Yeah.
I have 7.
All right.
It's about quantity,
Does
quality.
anyone have, let's see, who is vice chair of the rec board?
Really? No, I don't.
Who is clerk? Shall we just cancel the rec board meeting? Okay.
There was nothing.
Okay, then I will officially adjourn the school board meeting, and then I will announce that because of leadership of the rec board being absent, that we will postpone that meeting. Oh, no, wait. Actually, we need to vote that they have a meeting in January, right?
Yes.
Okay,
Susan's
I will.
clerk.
Are you the clerk, Susie? Do you want me to? You're the treasurer. Will you call the meeting to order and ask us to please vote on meeting January 14th?
Just meeting called to order?
Yep.
Okay.
I move that the rec board as first meeting of the year will be January 14th.
I second that.
Okay.
All in favor, say aye.
So it's been moved and approved.
So
The next meeting for the rec board will be on January 14th.
So you gotta.
So I was gonna say all in favor.
Aye.
Those opposed. Okay. Meeting
All right.
on January 14th.
And you can adjourn, Madam Treasurer.
Okay, meeting adjourned.